The Komati Basin Water Authority is a binational entity which was formed by the Republic of South Africa and the Kingdom of Eswatini. In 1948, the Republic of South Africa and the Kingdom of Eswatini agreed on water use from the Komati River, which originates from South Africa, flowing through Eswatini to the Republic of Mozambique. In 1968, South Africa, Eswatini and Mozambique started technical meetings after the realization of the importance of water as a valuable instrument for economic sustainability, development and peaceful coexistence. This was followed by the formation of Eswatini and South Africa Joint Permanent Technical Committee in 1978. The three countries recognized the sustainability of a basin approach to water resources development.
The Komati River is a river that is actually benefiting three countries. It originates in South Africa, it passes through the Kingdom of Eswatini, and it ends in the Indian Ocean in Mozambique. It obeys no political boundaries. It has a benefit to all the three member states. Hence, each member state has a responsibility to make sure that as they use the resource, a God-given resource, they actually leave a share of the other neighbor, especially the downstream neighbor, for them to also benefit from the same resource. Hence, that is why we now have member states sitting and agreeing on allocations of the water that is flowing through their countries and to the other member state.
The Joint Water Commission, the governments of the Republic of South Africa and the Kingdom of Eswatini sought out Mozambique's consent for bilateral developments of the commodity basin. At this juncture, the Republic of Mozambique could not fully participate because of internal domestic issues. It was in 1989 when South Africa and Eswatini decided to implement Three Copies Dam and Maguka Dam as Phase 1A and Phase 1B respectively. This was followed by the Peaks Peak Agreement, which was signed in 1991 by South Africa, Eswatini and Mozambique. In 1992, the governments converted the Joint Permanent Technical Committee into the Joint Commission through the Joint Water Commission. The JWC was established as a technical advisory organ for both governments. In the same year, South Africa and Eswatini signed and ratified the Komati River Basin Treaty, which was followed by the commencement mandate for the design and construction of Three Copies Dam located on the Lomati River in 1993 as Phase 1A, and Maguka Dam was constructed on the Komati River in 1998 as Phase 1B of the project. In 2002, Kobwa was fully established as it entered the Operation and Maintenance Phase Task Group. The Tripartite Permanent Technical Committee established the In-Commodity Systems Operation Task Group to develop operating rules which were adopted by the Joint Water Committee. Following collaborative efforts between Kobwa and the Eswatini Electricity Company, the Maguka Hydro Generation was constructed in 2007, which was a means for the Kingdom of Eswatini to generate its own electricity through the water conserved by the dam for sustainable economic development. The core functions of Kobwa is to operate the Komati River system effectively and efficiently in accordance with the operating rules agreed by the parties. Key to the realization of the objectives of the project is the timely and sustained delivery of water to the parties. This is achieved by evaluating the hydrology of the Komati Basin to determine water availability, developing and implementing decision support systems to optimize water allocation to the parties, effecting water supply rationing when necessary, developing and applying a water resources accounting system to determine the amounts of water used by the parties, and facilitating communication and discussions between Kobwa and stakeholders on the system operation, which is done through the Komati Joint Operation Forum. Kobwa analyzes water use monthly and produces water reconciliation statements to track the use of water and ensure that the parties are adhering to their annual allocation, which may or may not be rationed. This also includes analysis of compliance to cross-border obligations. Kobwa also monitors the quality to ensure that stakeholders obtain water that is safe for use. The water quality status is shared with parties to inform decisions required for maintaining good water quality and to minimize negative impacts on the aquatic environment. Moreover, through the environmental unit, Kobwa undertakes biophysical monitoring to inform the parties or water users of the quality of water allocated to them and any changes that might be observed. The biophysical monitoring also ensures that the water quality is fit for use for the various water users such as irrigation, domestic, recreational, and most importantly, for the aquatic ecosystem.
With the construction of Driekopies and Maguga, it stabilized the river, it increased the water assurance level for all the irrigators, and irrigators also had the certainty in terms of reliability of water supply, because predominantly the irrigators are farming with sugarcane, which is a long-term crop. It's 10 years at least. What is your production cycle? So you want to plant with the knowledge that the water reliability is good. So in that regard, it actually stabilized the cane supply area, so to speak. So that was a huge benefit in getting high reliability of water, high water assurance, and it also took away, the impact of the drought. Because in the past, because it was mostly a run-of-river, the drought had a devastating impact. And now, at least, if there is a drought, you actually can prolong the water supply. Although you are being rationed, water supply is rationed, obviously. But it can actually give you legs so that you can actually continue farming, and at least, depending on the severity of the drought, you can keep the crop alive. Because if you lose the crop, then you obviously have to replant. That comes with huge capital cost. So in that regard, the dams was a huge benefit to all the irrigators in the basin.
We relied entirely on rainfall, and we also relied on how much water was flowing in the river. So there were no issues during the wet period, during the rainy season. But when it came to the dry season, when the flows in the river are low, it became a problem. During the dry period, there would be literally no flow in the river. So it made it impossible to grow sugarcane effectively. So when Kobwa came through, the first benefit that accrued was the increase in terms of assurance of water supply. So we are able now to irrigate the crop as per requirement throughout the season, which has assisted greatly in terms of maximizing our production in terms of yields. So that's the first benefit. The second benefit, we were relying on the Sand River storage. This is not an on-channel storage. It's an off-channel storage, which means we are pumping water from a lower level to a higher level. So it is not, like Maguga, which is built within the river itself. So that meant that all the water that we were using for our daily irrigation and other operations came at a cost of pumping. So with the advent of Kobwa and the Maguga Dam, to a great extent, that cost burden was reduced and accrued as a benefit to all the water users in the canal system, because now we are able to get water by gravity from Maguga straight to the fields. And I would say that this has impacted positively on our operational costs. And then thirdly, the other issue is with the introduction of Maguga, we started seeing a number of new farmers coming into sugarcane production. This was part of the Komati Downstream Development Project, which was spearheaded by UAID currently. That meant that we were now getting more sugarcane. The volume of sugarcane coming to our mills increased. And it meant that our revenue would increase because of this additional volume of sugarcane that came through. That's the other benefit. And then the other benefit is the fact that within the infrastructure at Maguga, there is the hydropower generation facility, which is operated by EEC. So basically, that may not have a direct benefit to us, but it benefits everyone in the country in the sense that now it has introduced flexibility in terms of our energy mix. The power that we were getting previously came through imported power, which we got from Eskom in South Africa. But now we have our own locally generated electricity, which then has, in a way, assisted in reducing the tariff that we are getting in terms of electricity supply.
Through the operations, Kobwa is continually assessing risk of the bulk infrastructure and has developed an emergency preparedness plan that is implemented for effective response mechanisms. This ensures that Kobwa is proactive in monitoring and predicting extreme climatological events that bring about flooding or drought. They've also developed and installed an early warning system for disaster management and pollution incidents. Consequently, to ensure dam safety, Kobwa continually assesses the risk of failure of the bulk infrastructure through periodically planned surveys and dam safety evaluations. Daily, weekly and monthly monitoring is conducted using a range of installed measuring equipment. Due to their large size, Maguga and Driekopies dams have emergency preparedness plans which Kobwa has developed to ensure effective response mechanisms to flooding emergencies. As part of the disaster management, Kobwa is using a decision support system called the Data Analysis Reporting Engine, which is a forecast tool with 3 modules, and these are flood, drought, and pollution. Through this tool, Kobwa conducts assessments of flood and drought and water quality conditions in the catchment management areas. The assessments are based on interpretation and scoring of a wide range of indicators. These scores are compared with thresholds to assign an incident status to a particular area. Following the successful implementation of Phase 1A and 1B, the governments of the Republic of South Africa and the Kingdom of Eswatini through Kobwa facilitated a review of the 1992 treaty. The aim of the revised treaty was to widen the mandate of Kobwa given the skills and experience that have been gained by the institution over the years. Under the revised treaty, also referred to as Phase 2 of the development and utilization of the water resources of the Komati Basin, Kobwa envisages to manage and assist member states in the construction of other dams and related works on the Komati and Lomati rivers. Other activities include resource mobilization, manage access and use of the dam including surrounding state land which is under the control of Kobwa for recreational, tourism and any commercial related activities. This move will ensure Kobwa's financial sustainability and cope with current challenges and take advantage of existing opportunities.
Kobwa is an institution of 2 countries, the Republic of South Africa and the Kingdom of Eswatini. We actually were established to just look at designing the 2 dams, the Driekopies in South Africa and Maguga in the Kingdom of Eswatini. We were also supposed to construct, which we did. We constructed the 2 dams. Currently we are operating and maintaining them going into the future. But that scope has been noted to be a limitation to some extent because within the various 2 dams, there is potential that still exists. So we are looking at a potential or actually initiative of harnessing the economic activities around the dams. There is land around the dams which we're looking at putting up activities in the form of projects for tourism. There's also the use of the water surface. For Driekopies, we have about 1,800 hectares of surface area where you can actually have boats using that surface area, and it is a dam that traverses between two countries. In Maguga, you have about 1,000 hectares. There's also a tourism potential there, and the use of the water surface is something that we're currently looking at. So we are also looking at being an implementing agent for the two member states now for future projects. Because when this project came, there were future projects in the likes of Silingane, Tonga, and Ngonini. So under phase 2, which we are currently pursuing with the member states, Kobwa is looking to venturing into those kind of projects to be now an implementing agent. For the experience that we've gained from Maguga and Driekopies, we believe we're better positioned to actually take up these other projects because we note that there's a demand now going into the future. And we note that over the years, we have spilled a lot of water from these dams, which means that we can still build more dams in the system to actually put more land into use in the two member states. We're also looking at being an implementing agent for the two member states. Currently, we've been approached by the Republic of South Africa to manage one of their dams down south, that is in the Maputo Basin, the Lavumisa Potable Water Supply Scheme. They've looked at our potential, our experience, and they believe we're a better candidate to be given that role. And we're equally competent, and we believe we can deliver on that task. And of course, we are looking at partnering with other institutions. We now have a new institution established by the three countries, the Inkomati and Maputo Water Course Commission. It has Mozambique there. For Kobwa at the moment, Mozambique is not there. But we've partnered with IMACOM to look at how we can be implementing agents for their projects on the ground. Basically, we're looking at assisting them on implementing of civil works projects because we have that expertise. We're looking at doing joint studies for them because we've done that for what we are currently doing. And we're looking at actively participating and working with them in the management of the system. We have decision support systems elaborate in the system, which they can actually link on so that they get the data of the water as it flows in between the three countries, basically, because our system is structured that we also are monitoring the water that is flowing into Mozambique. So we believe that partnership is going to enable us to be an active player in systems operation and maintenance, working together with IMACOM, which is actually looking at the interest of three countries now. So we believe we should remain available and relevant to deliver in that kind of a mandate.